study findings. Again, we're gonna be looking at response time delays. We already know where our career services and, the call data that is showing the demand on the career trucks. And, of course, we'll be talking about our deployment of apparatus here shortly. And then, of course, you will see where there are some fire suppression gaps in our locality. And then also throughout the planning, we will be looking at stations, optimization of those in the locations. So that will come along behind this with some strategic planning as we move forward in phases 2, 3, and 4. So phase 1 is focusing on those immediate stabilization. Study did state and show that that service is needed from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. each day. Of course, additional field lieutenants as we grow in service. It did recommend supporting additional operational staff to help support the demand and an increase of services that we're wanting to provide. Times is around 2.5 minutes. And of course, that depends on whether you are career versus volunteer. So we do take that into consideration. We're looking at our dispatch times from the time the call comes in to the time that our dispatchers put the call out for first responders to respond. I will advise that those items are already in discussion with our 911 director working on currently.
We're very excited to report that in the last 6 months, we've hired somewhere between 8 and 10 full-time employees, which for a department our size is pretty significant. And we are staffing a minimum of 5 and pretty consistently all 6 trucks every day now. So that's a huge improvement. We're seeing a big, relief on our folks that are working because the call volume never slowed down. It's just a matter of how many trucks you have in service to absorb that call volume. And we see that that takes quite a toll on our staff and fatigue and whatnot. So it's been a real blessing to hire the full-timers that we had to get more trucks in service. And now we're ready to move forward with what the study's recommending, which is based on our call volume, putting another peak hour truck in service to absorb that increasing call load that's coming in. That additional lieutenant in service every day is critical. Right now we have 1 lieutenant, so that's 1 field supervisor for the entire county each day. And it just seems as though whenever that person is needed in Forest, they're in Stewartsville, or when they're needed in Huddleston, they're in Big Island. And so just by the geography of our county and the time it takes to travel, it would be incredibly advantageous to have a second supervisor in service, not just to improve their span of control with the number of personnel they're supervising and giving them the attention they need, but our lieutenants also are advanced practice paramedics, so they have a higher level of skill and medication opportunities for treatment for patients. And so that would be a huge improvement for a number of reasons.
Also, we'll be looking at is that 2 of those stations, Forest and Bedford, are very well staffed with volunteer staff and has a very high call volume, but they answer right at 100% of their calls. So where we really want to focus is on the stations that need additional staff. Planning actually immediately, and in these phases that we're looking at probably about 3 to 5 years is where once we're watching our data and our data is driving the information that we may need to increase that peak hour truck if it is approved to add it in the phase 1. We may need to make that truck a 24/7 truck to make sure that we're staying up with the demands of the services that